Hey guys, what is going on? It is Anthony here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be checking out a made in Mexico Fender Stratocaster from 2013. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Before we get started, as always, I want to give a huge thank you and huge shout out again to the kind folks over at St. Pete Guitars. This video for this guitar would not be possible without them, and I'm just really appreciative of them letting me have this opportunity to be able to review this amazing made in Mexico Fender Stratocaster that we have yet to talk about. So again, if you guys would like to purchase this guitar after the video, I'll put a link in the description so you guys can check out their shop, and you can also check out their store in person here in the Tampa Bay area. They're located in St. Pete Beach, Florida, and I hope you guys can check out what they have in stock and check out what they have inside their store, because they have something, I think, for everybody, and I think they offer a lot of really unique stuff to the Tampa Bay area. So with all that said, we're just gonna get started here. So on this guitar, we have this Lake Placid or Lake Placid blue type finish that looks really cool on this like gloss type of finish. I think it looks really neat. We have a humbucker single pickup configuration with a 5-way blade switch, which is really freaking sweet in my opinion. We also have a volume and 2 tone knobs. We also have 21 frets. We have a maple fretboard as well as a maple neck. Bolt-on neck actually. If I had to describe the neck, it's like kind of like a C shape, which is really cool. And then of course we have the classic iconic Fender Stratocaster headstock. So I've had my fair share of playing dozens of different kinds of Fender Stratocasters and different kinds of Fender products over the years. And so the question I'm going to answer is, what do I think of it? Of this specific one from this year, from like the 2013 era of Fender, of the made in Mexico type of products, I think this is actually a really good guitar. I think it's more than just a solid axe. I think the neck is super comfy. I think the pickups are actually really usable, and I think they're decent to good pickups overall. I really don't have any complaints in terms of getting really good classic Strat tones, but also being able to have a humbucker thrown in there to get some really nice hot rod kind of sounds as well to kind of bridge that gap even further. I really like the fact that it has like not just the classic Fender headstock, but it also has like the big Fender iconic logo there instead of the spaghetti one. The spaghetti kind of Fender logo is still really cool, but there's something very magical and like old school about the big Fender word on that logo specifically. So just nitpicky things in terms of the vibe. But other than that, I mean, it is a Fender Stratocaster at the end of the day. I mean, you got the versatility still of the volume and 2 tone knobs, as well as the 5-way blade switch, which is really nice. The bridge still is very comfortable. But other than that, I really can't say anything that's like a major like down about this guitar in terms of the quality control or really the playability. The only gripe that I have, and I'll even talk about some further things with the pros and cons, and you can kind of expect this, and that is the fact that it only has 21 frets. But again, I'm kind of like a modern meets classic kind of, you know, soloing kind of player. So that's why I'm very nitpicky about that. But there might be other people that are like old school like Strat fans that only need 21 frets, or they could do without the 22nd fret. I just happen to be one of those people where I need 22 frets if I'm gonna have a Fender personally. But that's just me. But other than that, the playability is great. Bending on this thing is super comfortable. I really like how the strings feel when they glide against my fingers. And really and truthfully, at the end of the day, it is still a very inspiring guitar, and I can't wait to plug it in to show you guys what this guitar is all about. So before I plug this in, I will be going through my Mesa Boogie JP2C. I'm going to go through the clean channel, and then I'll go through some like crunch kind of sounds or some like slightly overdriven kind of sounds with the single coils and the humbucker, and just go through the tones with the 5-way switch as per usual, so I can really showcase the true sounds of this Stratocaster. So until then, I'll talk about the pros and cons afterwards, and I'll see you guys on the other side. So now that you guys have heard this guitar, we're going to start with the pros and cons now. Starting with the pros, the first pro that we can get out of the way is the price. St. Pete Guitars is selling this for $700, which if you ask me, I think that's a really, really great deal, especially in these times. For what this guitar is, it plays really good, it sounds really good, it's reliable, it's versatile. I mean, there's a lot that you could do with this guitar. It's definitely not a one-trick pony, but you can get still some really nice modern enough sounds out of it, but you can also get some classic sounds out of it and still have the benefit of the neck and the middle positions for those classic Strat sounds. The second pro that we can get out of the way is the neck. The neck, like I said earlier, is very, very comfortable if I haven't mentioned yet. It has a very classic feeling C shape, but still like modern enough to where it's got plenty of meat on the back, but it's not like a baseball bat neck or like a thick neck by any means, but it's not like super, super paper thin like an Ibanez. It's just really nice middle ground. Like I could see people that are guys like me that like a thin neck can really, really like this. And I could see people who like a thicker neck that could really, really like this. It's a neck that I think would serve most people. And I think it's one that is honestly one of the most comfortable necks. Like I really think Fender did a really, really good job with, you know, their necks, and especially this model for this era that it came from. I'm really, really happy with the feel of it too. It's not sticky. It's got that nice like, kind of like oiled, like, you know, satin type of finish on the back, which I think is really, really nice. And I think Fender, like I said, Fender does a good job with necks like that. Of course, the second pro being too is that you get the classic Fender headstock with the big Fender logo. You know, unlike some Strats today where they don't really have that, at least the made in Mexico ones. I mean, but aside from that, bending on this guitar and playing solos is very, very comfortable. The strings just glide under your fingertips when you're playing this thing. You don't feel like you really have to fight the guitar, which I like, you know? I mean, it's just a really, really comfortable guitar overall. It's very versatile. The pickups are actually really, you know, good for what they are. Aside from them being maybe a little bit noisy, because you kind of expect that with like single coils for the most part. I mean, for what they are, I mean, they do serve its purpose. Maybe some people could argue that they would want to change the pickups later down the line, but I'm one of those people for like a Strat or an HSS Strat. I can make them work for me, and I think they're more than good enough and more than just passable for what they do and for what they offer. The third pro I also want to talk about is the quality control and the overall build quality. The build quality on this guitar and the fit and finish is really, really well done, especially for the guitar that it is and the era it came out of. I will honestly say that the finish looks fantastic. I mean, the overall QC in terms of the fretwork overall is still really, really good. I mean, is it perfect fretwork? I wouldn't say it's perfect fretwork, but you could still achieve a nice, reasonable Strat low action on this thing and still like be very, very, very comfortable. I mean, it's one of those things where for the price point that this guitar went for back in the day, and even today, if you could find this for like 700 bucks, like today, like at St. Pete Guitars, I think it's a really, really great deal. I mean, playability is just really, really sweet on this thing, like I said, and just the overall, like how the neck feels and how the body is and everything. It doesn't feel like a flimsy, cheap instrument. It doesn't feel like Fender really cut corners. I mean, if anything, I'll talk about maybe a couple things in like the cons section, but other than that, I mean, I'm very, very happy with my experience with this guitar. I mean, I really can't say anything that's like a major, major con or something that, really holds this guitar back, or something that you can't change, for instance. That's like a deal breaker, which I'll talk about further, but now that you guys have heard the pros, I'll actually get to that. So now that you guys have heard the pros, we're just gonna hop right in here with the cons. The biggest con for me, and I've kind of talked about this earlier already, is the fact that it's only 21 frets. Now, again, for those that are classic Fender fanboys that have been around longer than me, this is probably like just me splitting hairs to you. And hey, if that is the case, take this with a grain of salt. This is more of a preference thing because I'm more of a modern player in comparison, if I had to say. But I do wish this guitar had 22 frets. I mean, aside from that, I don't think it takes away from the playability. It's just one of those things where it's more of a stylistic thing and a preference thing in my case. But yeah, I wish this guitar had 22 frets instead of just 21, but I get there's a lot of Strat players that can do fine with just 21, and hey, that's perfectly okay. The second con that I do have to talk about is, although the bridge is not uncomfortable by any stretch of means, and it does function, and hey, it is a bridge after all, I will say the bridge itself might be the weakest thing for me when it comes to this Made in Mexico model specifically. But aside from that, it's not terrible if you're just going to treat this like a fixed bridge. But if I were to get this guitar, or get any guitar like this with this kind of a bridge, I'd probably swap out the bridge personally and maybe the tuners. Although the tuners are not junk by any means. I mean, they are Fender non-locking tuners. I'd probably suggest getting the Fender locking tuners for it, just for, better restring changes and that kind of a thing. Maybe for better tuning stability ever so slightly. I mean, the tuning stability is not bad on this guitar. I still think it's fairly good, and I think it's still like a very, very, very reliable instrument. I mean, it's a great solid workhorse that really punches above its weight in terms of the asking price. And like I said, it's a great guitar. I really can't say anything bad about it. I mean, there might be like, let's say maybe like 1 or 2 high frets, but other than that, I mean, the fretwork is really, really good. I mean, overall, I don't feel any like super, sharp fret ends or anything that I can really call out there. But other than those few things, there's really nothing that I could really say that really takes away from this guitar, aside from the fact, and again, this is more of a preference thing. I mean, you do have this bolt here on the back. I mean, that is classic Fender, but for someone that is used to playing like the American Pro 2 series, I do wish there was more of a bevel cutaway there on the back. But again, I still really love this guitar, and I really, really appreciate it a lot. I mean, I still don't think it takes away from, my playing experience with this thing. but that's just more so me being nitpicky as always for the sake of this video. But other than that, not bad. So is this guitar still worth buying in 2026? How well did it age? I would say this guitar aged very, very well. And I would say it's absolutely still worth buying or still worth looking into in 2026. The reason being is because for 700 bucks, this is a huge bang for the buck. If like the minor things that I pointed out aren't that big of a deal to you and don't take away from your playing experience and getting the most out of the guitar, I mean, let's say the only thing you have to do is change out the bridge. If that's the only thing you have to do, I mean, for 700 bucks, I don't think that's bad for a really, really good quality instrument and something that is reliable and that's going to serve you really well and still give you plenty of versatility while still rocking the legit Fender vibe that you're going to get with a legit Fender Stratocaster, made in Mexico or not. Don't let the fact that this guitar is made in Mexico fool you, because there are some great made in Mexico Strats like this one, you know, and I've played some Player Series. I would say this is better than some Player Series, but then I would also say that there's some Player Series Mexico Strats that are equally as good as this one, if not better. It just depends, you know. Fender is one of those brands where I've played some where it's like, you know, sometimes I prefer like an older made in Mexico Strat like this one from like the 2013, 2010 type of era or decade per se. But then there's some from the 2020s that are made in Mexico that are really freaking great and blow this one away. It really just depends. The best advice and the best piece of advice I could pass down to you as a consumer is to just try each one from each era. And don't just try one of each from each era. Try different kinds from each era and really see which one from your experience fits you the best, because at the end of the day, a Fender Stratocaster is a Fender Stratocaster. And I want you guys to find the right Stratocaster that works for you. And all that said, I would give this guitar a 9 out of 10 guitar picks. I mean, for 700 bucks, I say stop in at St. Pete Guitars because this is a really great guitar. It's an excellent workhorse that I would think would serve both old school and new school Fender fans alike. This guitar aged really, really well. I think it makes more than just an excellent mod platform. And like I said, if you can get past the fact that it only has 21 frets and you can just like maybe upgrade maybe one or two things, I think you would have an absolute killer guitar. I mean, this guitar does not disappoint, my friends. I think in terms of like the price point, you really can't go wrong. And it's something that I think is going to truly serve you well. All that said, I really, really enjoyed this guitar. Again, huge thank you to St. Pete Guitars for allowing me to check this guitar out for you guys. I'm really, really stoked I got to get my hands on one to try out. But until then, I'm gonna, wrap up this video and get this guitar sent back to them. So I thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.